Hey guys, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Erin Darling, and today we're bringing you the latest and greatest movie news along with insight into what it all means. Joining us today, as always, is AMC Editor-in-Chief John Campea.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Good morning, Erin. Hey, I've got to apologize again. I'm still not ready to announce the winners of the Kick-Ass contest. I know I was supposed to announce them yesterday. I said, no, guys, trust me, it'll be tomorrow. And here's tomorrow, and I'm still not ready. So tomorrow, for sure, we will have the winners of the Kick-Ass 2 hoodies. I sort of promise.
All right. Well, also joining us today, we have our regular guest, favorite of the show, and director of Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, Jon Schnepp.
Hey, thanks. Good to be here, guys. What's going on? I'm here in person. What's up?
Woohoo!
So on yesterday's show, we ran down the final and official cast list for the upcoming The Expendables 3, which will feature Mel Gibson as the main villain of the film. But is Gibson taking this role seriously? According to this new image of Gibson that leaked onto the internet, it definitely looks like it. In the image, we see Gibson apparently heading to the gym to work on the Gibson cannons. So John, what do you make of this photo of Gibson? Is he looking good?
Holy crap. I saw this image. I stumbled across this image last night, and I immediately put it up on my Facebook page. I'm like, I was just freaking out when you look at this. Because I remember we were talking about this off camera, that when like Apocalypto came out, you know, Gibson, besides donning the crazy, wacky Saddam Hussein beard, he was like really skinny too, right?
Yeah.
And I remember seeing a picture of him again just about 4 or 5 years ago. In good shape, but skinny, quite skinny. Now you look at this picture.
Right.
Keep in mind, this dude is 57 years old. He is 57 years old. And you know, I put that up and a lot of people are amazed. And some people saying, he just used steroids. He just used steroids. I don't think a lot of people understand how steroids work. Steroids are not like some magic elixir that you just stick in your arm and boop, you just grow muscles. No, what steroids do, and I'm oversimplifying this, but here's the basic gist. What steroids do is they basically, you work out, your muscles break down and tear down, and then they heal and recover and are bigger and stronger. That's what happens when you work out. Well, what the steroids do is they allow you to recover faster. You still got to go into the gym and work out like a savage animal. And you look at this picture, and Dennis will bring it up again. You look at this picture of Mel Gibson. This is a dude who has been working out like a savage feral animal. Like, look, he looks like a burly NFL lineman in this picture. It's just crazy. And now that tells me some pretty good things. Number one, it tells me this dude is taking his comeback seriously. Because you hear actors talking about working hard. Oh, I worked so hard on this film. That means I stood around in my trailer for 8 hours a day, whatever. Gibson is working hard. He is clearly working very, very hard. And so I'm happy to see that. I'm excited. I still say that this movie and Machete 2 can be possibly, potentially his Tropic Thunder, what Tropic Thunder was to Tom Cruise. This could be a great, and I love comeback stories, even when guys have been complete idiots and they've brought all the harm on themselves like Gibson has. I'm still a big fan of comeback stories. I hope he does great in this movie. I love this image, and I'm still kind of floored by it and shamed by it at the same time. Schnepp?
I thought somebody like photoshopped his face on some young dude's like ripped body. When I first saw it, I was like, what's that? So, or it's distorted. It's stretched out. Man, that guy's been like working out. So I was thinking maybe he's lifting old Jewish grandmas. Like, I'm totally sorry, 1. I'm totally sorry, 2. I'm totally sorry, 3. So that's the secret workout to get those giant guns. And it's like, you saw the trailer for Machete. He wasn't all jacked up like that. So
Well, they just showed his face. You never really see his arms.
But I've seen pictures of him. I guess, yeah, I haven't been like keeping my tabs on him. But yeah, he's like super jacked up right now. He's got those like extra thin lines where I was like saying earlier, like when I'm 60, I'm going to start bodybuilding and get all jacked up. When I'm 60.
Not before.
Because he can do it now. Look at
Stallone.
Stallone's all jacked up.
You know, speaking of Stallone, I remember a couple years ago, and Dennis has this picture, but this picture came out of Stallone when he was working out. I think it was either getting ready for Expendables 2 or getting ready for Bullet to the Head, but it's a 65-year-old. This picture of Stallone is a 65-year-old Stallone. I think he's 67 now or something like that. I mean, look at his physique. And I said at the time, you know what? Holy crap. Now, I said, hold on. Don't jump to conclusions here. But if you were to actually make a movie version of The Dark Knight Returns. So what about Stallone as Batman in A Dark Knight? Look at this 65-year-old dude. Okay, forget that. Mel Gibson as Batman in a movie adaptation of The Dark Knight Returns comic book by Frank Miller. That's your Batman right there. I'd see that. That's just me.
Whatever he's doing, he looks great. And Stallone, Looks great. The first official trailer for the upcoming JFK assassination film Parkland has just hit the web, recounting the chaotic events that occurred in Dallas, Texas on November 22nd, 1963. Parkland weaves together the perspectives of a handful of ordinary individuals suddenly thrust into extraordinary circumstances. The young doctors and nurses at Parkland Hospital, Dallas chief of the Secret Service, and an unwitting cameraman who captured what became the most watched and examined film in history. The film stars Zac Efron, Marcia Gay Harden, Billy Bob Thornton, Paul Giamatti, Jackie Earle Haley, and Ron Livingston. So, Schnepp, what do you think of the new Parkland trailer?
It looks really interesting. I mean, Zapruder's film it's great to see Paul Giamatti playing Zapruder, and it looks great. Like it's showing the everyman. Like it's a slice of life. Like all these people who are part of this horrible tragedy. You see characters who are playing doctors. You see, obviously the person who shot the film. All these different things. They amped it up a little bit towards the end of the trailer, which I thought it was sort of like sensationalizing it a little bit with that, we need to know what's happening. I can't believe you let him go. We had him in jail. All that like amped up stuff, which definitely helps, sell an audience to see a film, to show that there's some kind of drama or tension. But it looked really interesting to me. And it's great to see something like this, as opposed to like all these genre pictures, to finally see something a little more historical get in there,
I really like the trailer myself, actually. I mean, I'm not jumping up and down about it and whatever, but I did like it. And, it reminds me of that Oliver Stone film, World Trade Center. Mm-hmm. And the thing that I liked about that film is what I think I will like about this one is that you had this major significant incident, but you don't necessarily need to make the movie about the incident. You make it about the people that it affected, the people who were standing around, basically. And that's, I didn't love World Trade Center, but that's one of the elements I liked about it. And it seems like Parkland is going to go in that direction as well. I really do like the cast that we're seeing in this. Like, I like seeing Zac Efron in this. I actually think Zac Efron is quite an undervalued actor. I think he's quite a good talent when it comes to that. And you know what? I agree with you. The really overdramatic stuff was kind of losing me a bit. It's like, we had him in this office. We could have stopped this. Okay, that lost me a bit. But still, overall, the trailer, very conspicuous by his absence. You have to bring him up whenever it happens. I didn't see Tom Welling in it. Did I miss it? But I don't think we saw Tom Welling in the trailer.
No, is he going to be
He's in the movie, although we know it's a small role, but maybe it's not a big deal. But yeah, overall, I kind of like the trailer.
And a little side note about it is Parkland is where both JFK and Jack Ruby and Oswald all died, that hospital.
Right, you were mentioning that.
I read about that after seeing the trailer, and I was like, all right, that ties it in a little bit better, like Parkland, why it's called Parkland. It made me actually more interested to see the film. So
agreed.
Also noted, I think there was a Jackie Weaver cameo in there, too.
Oh, is there?
I think so. It was like a second.
Oh, okay. I got to keep my eye on it.
Love her, though. She's so talented.
All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for buy and sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Erin's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down, and Schnepp and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Erin, what do we got?
The first official image from the upcoming Paul W.S. Anderson film, Pompeii, hit the web and shows off Game of Thrones star Kit Harington, who plays the lead in the movie. Pompeii follows an enslaved Celtic gladiator who falls in love with a noblewoman on the eve of a massive volcanic eruption that destroys the city, an event that also brings him face to face with the man who slaughtered his family years earlier. The film also stars Emily Browning, Jared Harris, Kiefer Sutherland, and Carrie-Anne Moss. So, John, buy or sell this image of Pompeii?
I'm going to buy it still. I think he looks really good, actually. He looks better than I ever thought Jon Schnepp could look like.
Oh, he looks great.
Yeah, he does look great in it. I'm still very curious about the film. I'm not really down on Paul W.S. Anderson, but still, these type of ancient period piece movies, they got a soft spot in my heart. I will say it sounds a little bit, when you read in the description, a lot like Gladiator in many ways, other than the destruction of the city. But yeah, for now, for me, it's a buy.
Yeah, I'm going to buy it. I think he's working out with Mel Gibson. Only they're like, just work on the ab area for him. So, but yeah, I like Paul W.S. Anderson films. I like Soldier. It's there's certain films that he did that everyone else hates that
Mortal
I say.
Kombat.
Look, I'm going to say Soldier. If you've never seen Soldier with Kurt Russell, Kurt Russell has like one line in the entire movie. He just gets dropped off on this planet. He's like a Captain America where they had hundreds of them, and he was like overused and dropped off on an alien planet. It's awesome. See it, Soldier, and I guess you should also see Pompeii too.
I guess. I don't know. I look at this picture and I'm just like, are you sure Zack Snyder's not directing this movie? It kind of looks like it.
Looks like it might have been.
Just a little bit. On to our next one. So last week it was announced that District 9 and Elysium director Neil Blomkamp's next film would be Chappie, a story of a robot imbued with artificial intelligence who is stolen by two local gangsters who want to use him for their own nefarious purposes. The film will star Charlton Copley as the voice of Chappie, and now Sony Pictures has announced that the official release date for Chappie will be March 27th, 2015. So Schnepp, buy or sell a March 27th release date for Chappie?
Oh, I'm totally buying it. Another awesome film for 2015 where 300 movies will fight each other to the death for domination of the box office. Chappie, I can't wait to see it. I heard that Die Antwoord are playing the two thieves, the two villains. I loved Elysium. I absolutely loved District 9. When I heard he's doing a comedy sci-fi film where Charlton Copley was going to be playing like one of those weird robots that he's had in all of his movies, including his short films, I was sold like a year and a half ago when I first heard about it. I'm so excited that he's actually making it. It's in production. I'm jacked up. A sci-fi comedy? Come on, guys.
I'm hesitantly buying it because I bought this before. I think this is a good release date for it, actually. You're a little outside of the summer movie season. I think this is a good place to drop it. I am concerned about the film because it sounds like, once again, other than the fact that it's comedy, it sounds like Neil Blomkamp is staying within that safe little box that he just plays in, and he doesn't seem to know how to get outside of it, and I want to see him stretch outside of that. And I'm also very concerned about getting non-acting hip-hop rap duos from some other, whatever country they're from, I can't remember.
South Africa.
This concerns me a lot because he seems to be fixated with wanting to put rappers in his movies, which I do not know why. I think it's a stupid move, but I still believe in him because I love District 9 so much. I love Charlton Copley. So yes, for me, I'm also going to make it a buy.
I was going to say, Die Antwoord, you can go online and see some of they started out as a comedy group. So they've done tons of comedy before they became a rap group. They were actually doing these little sketches and things. All their sketches are on YouTube.
See, that's intriguing.
Yeah,
it's
and they're
intriguing.
very funny.
They're-
And
yeah,
that's
they're
why I'm
really-
100% sold. Those guys are artistic geniuses, and they direct all their own music videos. So
Which are also equally cool.
Yeah, so
I'm
I'm a
on
big
board with
fan.
them too. I think they're really cool. They're doing some different stuff, and who knows what'll happen in this movie. I think they might be able to knock it out of the park. But on to another story that I'm really excited about. I'm probably the only person ever excited about this. But as most of you guys know, Hot Tub Time Machine 2 is on its way, and we will see the return of Rob Corddry, Craig Robinson, Clark Duke, and Chevy Chase reprising their roles, with Parks and Rec star Adam Scott joining the cast. For those of us who enjoyed the first one, don't expect to see John Cusack, as he is not returning for the sequel. Now, up until now, we didn't really know what role Scott would be playing, but in a recent interview, Rob Corddry revealed the following. Adam Scott is playing his son from 10 years in the future. Corddry explains. His son that was conceived in 1986 on the night with Jenny Stedmeyer. So, John, buy or sell Scott's role in Hot Tub Time Machine, the sequel?
I gotta buy. I loved the first Hot Tub Time Machine.
You did?
I did.
Oh, that makes me so
love
excited.
That one scene between Corddry and Craig Robinson in the bathroom when he wakes up in there and he's got the
So
soap on him. That scene kills me. And I love Adam Scott. I'm becoming a bigger and bigger and bigger. Every time Adam Scott's in something, he's gold, actually. At some point, I think he might jump up into that Paul Rudd, Will Ferrell kind of level where we recognize him as just a genius in working in these types of films. I think he's great, and I love the explanation that he's actually going to play John Cusack's son from that one fateful night. This sounds like a great thing to me. I cannot wait. I wish they would announce a release date for this film. They still haven't announced a release date, but I'm so stoked and on board for Hot Tub Time Machine 2. For me, it's a buy.
100% buy. Release date sometime in 2015 so that they can fight with the other 300 movies. Adam Scott from Party Down, that's where I first saw him, and ever since then I've been a fan of his. He's really funny. Love Craig Robinson.
Yeah.
The Hot Tub Time Machine was the movie that sold me on his comedic genius. I mean, I loved him in The Office, but he stole the movie.
And do you remember how good Adam Scott was in Step Brothers?
Oh my gosh.
As Will Ferrell's brother? That was awesome. That was great.
So yeah, total buy. I can't wait to see it. And I loved Hot Tub Time Machine, the first movie too. Really funny. Laughed out
So
loud.
happy you guys are on board with this. I'm always the only person in the room that is excited for the sequel, but I cannot wait for
Not
it.
anymore, Aaron darling.
Not anymore. Not alone anymore. But they're shooting this summer, or they already finished. So I think we're going to get it in 2014, to be
Nice.
honest
Yeah,
with
probably.
you. which is also very exciting for me. Next up, Guy Ritchie, the director behind films like Snatch, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and the recent Sherlock Holmes movies, has his next project, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., opening in AMC theaters everywhere in 2014. But now it appears Ritchie has his next project already lined up, as it's being reported that Warner Brothers is in talks with Ritchie to direct their upcoming film Empire Rising. Now here's a quick synopsis. It's 1930 and the ground has just been broken for the Empire State Building. One of the thousands of men who will come to work high above the city is Michael Briody. I'm hoping I pronounced that correctly. But he's an Irish immigrant torn between his desire to make a new life in America and his pledge to gather money and arms for the Irish Republican cause. When he meets Grace Masterson, who is an alluring artist who is depicting the great skyscraper's rise from her houseboat on the East River, Briody's life is suddenly turning exhilarating and dangerous. So, Schnepp, buy or sell the sounds of this movie?
I'm so halfway on it, but I'll buy it right now. I mean, to me, it's like what sells me on it is the idea of seeing workers working on the Empire State Building. Like all those pictures that I always see of like guys from the 30s having a sandwich, like sitting on a metal railing, like 7,000 feet up in the sky. And my stomach's like, oh, I instantly feel weird.
Yeah.
So if they incorporate that in to the drama of the film, which it sounds like they're going to, then it could be a really exciting thriller.
Yeah.
Set in 1930s with using the set pieces, the Empire State Building being built, but obviously there's going to be a lot of gangster kind of like thriller activity going on. So.
Yeah, for me it's a buy if for no other reason than just Guy Ritchie. I'm a huge Guy Ritchie fan. I really like the work he's done on the Sherlock Holmes films, more the first one than the second one, but I really like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and Snatch is one of my all-time favorite movies. So I absolutely love this guy. So just based on his name alone, plus the things that Schnepp already said, I'm going to make it a buy.
You guys, does this not sound just like Titanic? Let's be honest.
No.
It reminds me so much of Titanic.
Aaron, the Empire State Building never sank.
It never sank.
That's true.
All right, folks, listen, we reached that part of the show for mailbag. Look, if you've got a topic or a question that you would like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, we get to as many as we can. In front of her, Aaron's got a few issues pulled out. So, Aaron, what do we got?
First off, we have Venna Everett, who writes, "Hey everyone, love the show. I know it may never happen, but what are your thoughts of either a Shazam Captain Marvel movie or at least him appearing in some of the new DC movies? I think the potential of the character of Shazam with a young boy being able to get superpowers, and I think it would be a cool concept. Would you guys want a Shazam movie? Keep up the good work."
First of all, thanks for the question. I would love a Captain Marvel movie, to be honest. And as a matter of fact, a couple of years ago, they were in development of a Captain Marvel movie that The Rock was going to be in. And I don't even think The Rock was going to be Captain Marvel. I think The Rock was going to play the villain in the film.
Yeah,
He was
Black
going to
Adam.
play Black Adam. And they were in development on that for like a year, and then it got derailed. So I don't know what the status of that is right now, other than that incarnation of it is off the books and they're not doing it. Shazam is a really fascinating character. I used to watch that old Adventure Time show when I was a little kid. Shazam, boom, and he turns into the guy. But also, if you ever read the graphic novel Kingdom Come, Shazam is a major player. Captain Marvel is a major player in that comic. He's kind of set up in this world as the only being in the universe who could actually go and be a threat and possibly take down Superman. And it's a really, if you've never read Kingdom Come, I highly recommend it. It's a really, really great graphic novel, kind of an Elseworld kind of a thing. But I would love to see it, but as far as I know, there are no immediate plans. But since they were developing at one point, don't be surprised if in the next year or two, maybe we start hearing rumblings about it. I would suspect, though, that if he does come to the big screen, we'll probably see him in a standalone without introducing him in another film. That's just my gut. I don't have anything to back that up with. Shep, what do you think?
Yeah, I would love to see a Shazam movie, and also one that like is aged up a little bit for Billy Batson, like the series that was on in the late '70s that we saw. It was like a kid with his uncle driving around in an RV or something. Is all I really remember. But it was like a kid in high school or something. So it was like if you relate it to people in high school, and then this kid becomes this god. I think that would kind of be a cool way to go. It's also got Spider-Man little tracings in there.
Well, you know what? I really like the incarnation of Shazam that they used in that video game, and I don't want to refer to this a lot, but Injustice: Gods Among Us. Their version of Shazam in that is actually a pretty cool character. And the reason that came to mind because you mentioned that it's kind of Spider-Man-y. His character is a little bit more Spider-Man-y in that one, and it's pretty cool.
And I got to say, if you mentioned Kingdom Come, I'm a big Alex Ross fan. He had actually done a version of Shazam that he had pitched that never happened, but it's in this the Justice sketchbook series where he did all these drawings of a newer version of Shazam, which is just so badass.
Nice.
It's like using like electricity and electrical. Just his drawings of that version of Shazam was like, why didn't they make that comic? And then why don't they make that into a movie? That's
Right.
how I feel about it. So
Nice.
Our next mailbag question is a video question submitted from Brian, so let's go check it out.
What's up, AMC Movie Talk? It's Brian from DC. It was great meeting you guys at the meet and greet down at Comic-Con. Actually, my question is about Comic-Con. Hall H, I'm one of the guys that loves to sleep out and catch all the exclusives, especially a lot of the stuff that we saw this year. But I noticed that a lot of the footage is starting to show up online. My question is, though, if this footage keeps showing up online, do you think the studios will stop bringing their footage to Comic-Con to show the fans? If that happens, that would suck because personally for me, I do enjoy a lot of the exclusives that I see at Comic-Con, especially this past year. Anyway, love to hear your thoughts about it, man. Keep up the great work. Peace.
Thanks so much for the question, Brian. Yeah, actually, this is a question that gets asked a lot every year because every year some really cool stuff gets shown in Hall H, and then at some point it gets leaked out. Like I remember when the first Iron Man movie, that stuff leaked 8 hours after it was on screen, right? Now, the stuff you're talking about in particular, I'm assuming, is about the Guardians of the Galaxy teaser sizzle and the X-Men Days of Future Past. I love both of them, by the way. I love both of them. But you know what? It's been a few weeks since Comic-Con. It's not like they dropped, like they got online 5 minutes after the movie. It was a few weeks after, which I still think is a pretty safe window for stuff like that. Now, as to the part of your question you're asking, do you think the studios might stop bringing this exclusive stuff because it gets leaked online? Nah, I think the studios don't mind it leaking online, to be honest. I'm more concerned about folks like you who are I haven't stepped foot in Hall H in 5 years. And I probably never will again. But for folks like you and folks like Ann who will go and sleep out and be dedicated to get in there to see it, I think it's important that they protect that material for at least a couple of weeks so that you are sleeping out so you can truly be the first people to see it and for a number of weeks, the only people who have seen it. But at some point, it's got to become fair game and it's got to be able to be leaked online. And I think a couple of weeks window is a pretty fair window. Schnepp?
yeah, stop being a hater. You got to see it first. I know you slept out there. It was cold. You and like 7,000 other people. But I got to see like a weird shaky cam version, a trapezoidal screen, weird, only 30 seconds of it, like 3 weeks later. And I was at Comic-Con too, but I didn't sleep outside. I can't do the Hall H thing either. So, you got to see it like 3 weeks before everyone else. Some Russian site had the Spider-Man one up because like somebody was like, cease and desist, but somebody was like, yo, I'm from Russia. They couldn't take it down. So if you want to see the Spider-Man 2 trailer that you Hall H'ers saw, that's the only way you can see it is some weird shaky cam screen. So that I'm totally cool with that. And as long as I think none of these companies are ever going to stop promoting because Comic-Con is the biggest hype machine out there.
Yeah.
And you guys sleeping outside is part of that hype. You slept outside and you got to see all those cool trailers that none of us got to see, and we still haven't seen them. You saw it in a crispy, air-conditioned environment with
on
great
a big
speaking.
screen.
Yeah. So we didn't. We saw it on a tiny screen, all shaky and weird. And here's only 20 seconds of the X-Men thing. We're like, show all of it. Nope. So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't complain about it. I think you guys, anybody who's a Hall H'er and saw that stuff, you have dibs on geek cred. You slept outside. You could brag about it for weeks. And even if somebody else was like, I saw the Spider-Man trailer, I was like, yeah, but you didn't see it in Hall H. So there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's the right way to look at it. You got to see it first, and for a long time, you got to say you were the only one to say it. You got to know at some point they're going to release that to the general public. And pretty soon, now that it's these leaked footages pieces are online, I'm pretty sure Sony and Fox are just going to put them out, the good copies, because I want to see that Guardians of the Galaxy one in its full HD glory. All right, folks, well, that's it for us today. Thanks so much for joining us. Listen, while I've got you, take a second And if you haven't done it already, click on the subscribe button. Become a subscriber to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. Keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news. And of course, our daily AMC Movie Talk show and our weekend AMC Mailbag show. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. If you want an audio-only version of this show, look in the description of this video and you'll find links to our iTunes and our Stitcher Radio so you can listen to us on the way to work or at school or whatever else you should be doing otherwise. So, hey, listen, I want to thank, as always, first of all, our lovely host, Miss Erin Darling. Erin, where can people find you online?
Twitter, Erin A. Darling, Facebook, Erin Darling fan page, and YouTube, Erin Ashley D. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being had, as always. The one and the only Mr. Jon Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you?
I'm just at Jon Schnepp on Twitter, so follow me. I'm working on a bunch of new stuff, so I'm always posting that and weird vines, so that kind of thing. So.
And you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, at John Campia. Hey, listen, folks, remember, the most important part of the show is absolutely not what we have to say. It's what you have to say. Make sure you jump into the comments section of this video and leave your thoughts on any or all the topics we discuss here today. Agree, disagree. One of the most fun things about being a film fan is debating. Just, keep it respectful. Like that. And I guarantee you, we read absolutely every comment that gets put in there. We may not respond to all of them, but we absolutely read all of them. So thanks a lot for joining us. My name is John Campia, and until next time, this is AMC Movie Talk. Bye-bye.